Hey, Dr. Kimberly, it says we're live over there. Which
Over there, right there. It does. We
which
are.
this one? No, this one. It's like I'm still I'm
We're
still
not the Brady Bunch today. We're side by side, and
we're back on separate studios because folks, sometimes the Zoom technology, but this isn't Zoom, this is StreamYard, is a great platform. So I have a theory, but I'm not going to bore you with it right now unless you want me to go to the whiteboard. Um, but you know, Zoom Zoom is how to say it. Um, this technology works if you know somebody. I'm just going to say that. It's hard to, you know, build a good working relationship only online, unless you like have to. I've only heard about cool international companies that like have people in America and China and India and Europe, and then you gotta meet, with ever never meeting. But anyways,
well, I think that we didn't have something was wrong with the volume. Internet connection wasn't strong enough. It was just a plethora. You name it. It was the issue, but we showed up, and that's what's important. And people just want to know: are we going to show up? And those who can read lips, and they do. And we do have closed captioning. So
well, and Dr. Kimberly, let's put a pin in it for the moment, but we'll bring it back up. There's this terrible, tragic thing happening as we speak related to American Sign Language interpreters in the state of Michigan. It is like the hardest position to fill now because the state is messing up licensing and the tests people have to take to get licensed, and it's a fiasco. Somebody should get elected and take care of that. But that is
no.
that's a statement of fact, not endorsement.
So
But
I'm just saying, like, so what office do you need to hold in order to help that? Maybe a state representative?
a state rep would be great to help us. And so, that being said, Dr. Kimberly, back to rolling on the road and what we're up to. What were you doing last Thursday evening?
Well, last Thursday evening was such a busy day. And you know what I liked about it the most is that I got to bring my daughter along.
Oh,
So all of the siblings met. She was just like, "So how's my brother Liam doing?" I said, "He's good. He's doing what Liam does. He's free spirited. I love him dearly."
that is they are out there doing their thing.
And they're not getting in trouble, so that's a good thing. But well, the day started with coming to the ribbon cutting.
We had our ribbon cutting, folks, and we had a blast.
It was awesome.
Um, yeah, the fun of we cut the ribbon on this new space, so you can't hardly see it around me. But come
Well,
visit
you see the
us.
pretty glass, the nice tempered glass.
The nice tempered glass, our doors have glass with a little bit of frosting, so you can be confidential, but you might see somebody's eyes peek above it or below it. And but yeah, the office space is great. Where we broadcast from last week, it's still on the to-do pile, people, that we're working to get better technology around here. So that way Dr. Kimberly and I can go live without the goofiness of trying to be on a laptop and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
But we got to say hi to Vertaji. She's watching out of Detroit, Michigan. Yes. She's like
the big D, the D is in the house.
yes.
Always
D
awesome.
from the big D.
Exactly. Exactly. And so anyways, to continue to show off the space, we're going to have more and more opportunities. If you are a person with a disability who lives in, Kent County or can get here, our test pilot group continues to grow. Shameless plug, June 9th. We'll put a pin in it now. June 9th is absolutely accessible.
Absolutely accessible kid. And I'm so excited because we can actually be on campus.
We're going to be on campus. We're going to be here at Special Olympics, down the hall at the main gym and the small gym. The morning workshops, we have a planner, like a city planner, not like an actual city planner that works at the University at Buffalo. They're one of the world's premier centers for inclusive design. Not making that up just to hype it. It's true. He's coming in to talk about universal design and city planning. So for the planners out there and the people that want to talk about public spaces, there's that breakout. And then
we need to put a pin right there and say that we are really excited because we had city planners from all around Kent County.
We do.
Who participated prior to Absolutely Accessible Kent becoming what it is today. This is actually our 4th year. We probably took almost 2.5 years to really put it together, put all the stakeholders at the table. What I really love about Kent County, and I want to give out a shout out to the young man all the way in Indianapolis who tuned into the show, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, who really appreciated all of the work that we do. So we're excited, and hopefully, you guys will keep reaching out, letting us know that what we're doing is great, because we've been doing this 2 years now, guys. 2 years we have been rolling.
This is year 3. We're into year 3.
We really are.
So, because
all of the information.
Yep. What Dr. Kimberly refers to is that we had all of these conversations that they were under the banner of Absolutely Accessible Kent, and the subtitle was Drink Beer and Talk Smart. And
but it was after 5 o'clock. I want everybody.
It was after 5 o'clock.
After 5 events.
If you haven't heard this, Grand Rapids is known as Beer City, so we kind of went from brewery to brewery. And
we support small businesses.
We support small businesses, minority-owned, women-owned businesses. That's what we are truly all about. And we started at City Built Brewing, owned by Edwin Colazo, who is Puerto Rican. And the food is fantastic.
Ooh,
and
yes.
The beverages are awesome as well. Mm-hmm. And because it's a lot of his family recipes. His ma's helping in the kitchen. No exaggeration, folks. They're just fantastic. And so because we asked the question, it's like, so we have the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. Isn't that good enough? So, see, it was not meant to be a rhetorical question. And Dr. Kimberly, she started, and that conversation was people with disabilities, architects, developers, Mayor Bliss from the city of Grand Rapids,
Mayor
Kepley, Becky Reinbrandt, city of Wyoming, Josh Naramore, who runs Mobile GR, David Marquardt, Grand Rapids City Park. I mean, just all kinds of folks, Terry Schweitzer, city of Kentwood, bringing people together, and then could list all of our test pilots.
Township.
What's that?
Plainfield Township.
All of that facilitated by Gail DeBrine at Kendall College of Art and Design. Gail is such a fantastic partner. And again, like, is it good enough? What can we do more? And what's the barrier? Because it's coincidental that I'm green with envy, because I'm envious of all the green development. Everyone wants to be LEED certified. Everybody wants to upsell LEED. Like, you can buy a furnace with 90% efficiency, or how about this one over here that's 95% efficiency, and get these windows that do this and do that. And again, I support that. This brand new space is going to be LEED certified. I mean, we're going through the process. We did the planning, and we're doing all the checking now. So totally support LEED certification, green building, and people are all excited about it. But we say accessibility, and they're like, "Meh."
What? You want us to do what?
We don't have any people with disabilities that come in here.
We don't have enough money in our budget for that.
Exactly.
Maybe next time. But what I say is that it doesn't cost you anymore to build it when you build it right the first time. It's when you have to come back and make those changes. That's where the money comes in. And maybe you may have to spend an extra 30, 40 minutes to say, oh, are we going to decide to make a door, 28 inches, or are we going to make it 32 inches wide? So that was 2 seconds right there.
Yep. And then,
so I mean, it's just a matter of saying, okay, I'm going to make it. But you know what I always love to say is that when you make it for the most excluded, whether you make it or make a decision for the most excluded, then you have included everybody. Because if I look at the worst case scenario and I plan for the worst case scenario, then whatever happens in between, I'm covered. Because guess what? I planned for the very worst. If you're doing an event, you're going to do it outside, and you say, all right, it might, well, we're in Michigan, and if you do anywhere between October and, March 31st, it might snow. And so we say, guess what? We got a blackout plan. Just in case it might snow, it might rain. This is what we're going to do. We have everything set up. That's the worst case scenario here in Michigan when we talk about the weather, if you're doing you're doing an event. So let's plan our cities the same way. I am not going to always be, a 25-year-old guy who's got everything going, got a six-pack. We don't think that, I might turn about 45 and my knees might start, giving out on me. And maybe I've played football. I've got maybe one too many concussions. The next thing I know, I can't remember what I got up to go in the room. Oh, that happens when you're about 35 or 40. But anyway, I believe in let's build with the end in mind.
Yep. Yeah. And your point of if you build it from the get-go, it does not cost you any extra. And the investment that we're making around here with like power doors, I have this dream of a guerrilla art project where usually the little pad is, I call it, the blue wheelie guy. And we only think it's like for wheelchair users to hit that pad. And I would love to at least make 4 sections.
Oh, like they do the disability symbol. Let's put on there mom, carrying a baby.
Exactly.
Or a guy carrying some packages.
Wait, no, stop. How about a man carrying a baby and a woman carrying some packages?
Oh, I'm not carrying no packages.
All right, so then
I'm not carrying no baby. I carry a baby,
All right. That will be your art sticker. My art sticker will be a little different, but that's the beauty of art. But it's all about that button helps so many people because we all are temporarily, disabled, unable to open a door. Absolutely. I'm carrying boxes. I'm pushing a stroller. I'm in a wheelchair. It's like, folks, this is for everyone, your access. And there was actually a study done once, like a big store at a mall that had multiple entrances. Mm-hmm. The entrance where they put the power door.
More people go through that.
More people went through it. And then they were able to put, the stuff they wanted to sell people there. And they actually tracked increased sales. We're not making this up. This is real money. And this wasn't just because more people with disabilities came through. It was because, for whatever reason, shoppers enjoyed that extra convenience and that feeling welcomed. So, folks, do it right. So you come to our event on June 9th. So Dr. Kimberly was there 3 years ago, April, when we did our very first in-person. It was at Embassy Suites, downtown Grand Rapids. We had Ileana Rodriguez, Paralympian, architect. She's from Cuba, lives in Houston now. Great day with Ileana. Then fast forward, COVID hit. We had Chris Downey, who is a blind. We did it virtually. Last year we had who did we have last year? We had
we did the house.
We did the house with Rosemarie Rossetti and I'm blanking on the architect from Seattle who talked about accessibility can be beautiful. And And then this year, so we're fourth annual, and so we have the planner talking about city planning and universal design. The other workshop, and again, anybody can go to either one, but the focus of the other workshop is for architects, interior designers, and how do you design for folks who are deaf or hard of hearing? And so he
Okay,
is
so like I want flashing lights.
come on down, and it's
Those at the
way more
door.
than that, and some intuitive stuff where yeah, so come on down. He was the architect at Gallaudet University, which is America's um, university for folks, or of folks who are deaf. The deaf culture, very very filled with pride at Gallaudet. He worked there. Now he's out on private practice. So those are our two workshops. Come and do tons of learning. And then our keynote address is Robin Jones. Robin runs the Great Lakes plural ADA Center in Chicago. Robin's been doing this for a long time, and she is a wizard of, again, as Dr. Kimberly already pointed out, the ADA is the bare minimum and too often inaccessible to too many. Robin knows that inside and out, and she knows about universal design. So Robin's our keynote. Cannot be more excited about that. So um, it's a whopping $50, which is $25 for if you're only coming for lunch in the keynote, $50 for the whole thing. But don't tell anybody. If you need a scholarship, just ask for one. That's why we have sponsors, great sponsors. So come on down. Do not, never, ever, ever, ever let cost be a barrier to an event at Disability Advocates. So because that test pilot group that I talked about actually got its start after that first session with Ileana. So
Yes.
that afternoon, we gathered with Ileana and we said, now what do we do? And what I loved about that conversation is so many people, and I think you were one of them, Dr. Kimberly, you said, it's about time. That was like, it's about time. Let's go for it. So COVID, got in the way a little bit, but we're roaring out of COVID. In fact, the test pilots are going to be at the Grand Rapids, or it's actually the
On
Gerald R.
Thursday.
Ford International Airport on Thursday. We've been working with the airport, downtown Grand Rapids, Inc., City of Kentwood, Wyoming, Grand Rapids, Plainfield Township, Calvin University. I mean, I could go on and on about all these places that want and need our help, and we're awesomely excited to offer it. So this Thursday, test pilots out at the airport. Again, how do we keep learning and all of that? So back to our ribbon cutting. It happened in front of our Home Accessibility Center. We're going to have tons of sessions, bringing people with disabilities in. Let's say they're builders as well. That what do we do right? What do we do wrong? It's a place of learning and experimentation. I'm going to keep saying it, Dr. Kimberly. If we don't break things, we're not trying hard enough. We need to scuff the walls. People to say, hey, this should be a little wider, and here's why. Look at the scuff marks. It tells you why and where. So it's just
it's embarrassing, and I just stop explaining it when people come to my home. So anyway, but it is now 18 minutes after the hour. Can you believe it's been almost 20 minutes already? We want to tell you thank you so much for tuning into Rolling on the Road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. And we have been at this for 2 years. Yes, May 7th was our 2-year anniversary, and we just keep going. Things keep getting better and better. And we just have more information that is available to you. And we're just excited for all of you in all 50 states that tune in, and in those 9 countries. We are grateful for our friend who lives in the Netherlands, who stays up long enough because it's almost 10 o'clock at night there when we come on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we really appreciate you. We appreciate our friends in Kenya and Nigeria who have actually come on and kind of had conversations with us while we've done the show. And we cannot forget about those who have been stateside. I mean, you guys have been phenomenal, all the way in Baltimore, Maryland, with our friends there, all our friends out of Detroit. those of you,
California.
absolutely, and those of you who are homegrown, and thank you to those who are EDs of all the Centers for Independent Living here in the state of Michigan. I'm looking forward to all of you coming to Absolutely Accessible Kent. We're excited. And those who saw me on Legislative Day, how wonderful that was on last Tuesday. Yeah.
That's Tuesday. But enough about us. Again, June 9th, go to our website, dakc.us. We cut the ribbon. You're going to get invited to the Home Accessibility Center. But Dr. Kimberly, you left before the party was over last Thursday.
Because I had to go downtown to the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel. Drum roll, please. To the West Michigan Women's Magazine. They hold the Brilliance Awards. This was their 6th year. And I won the Champion of Service Award. Yeah.
Gotta get myself in front of my camera.
There we go. So that was exciting. That was really exciting.
So, yeah. So, I mean, tell us about this award.
What you want to know what was really crazy was the next day I had a candidate interview at the Chamber of Commerce, and they had, they were all there. So, I mean, you go and they say, well, why do you want to run? And there's like, but oh, wait a minute, before we ask you why you want to become, a state rep, we want to thank you and congratulate you for winning Champion of the Champion Service Award. And I was like, oh yeah.
Service. That is you, Dr. Kimberly.
Service.
Yeah.
Great folks in my category. There were more than 400 women that were nominated this year. So I truly feel honored to be amongst the 30. They have 10 categories. And so out of the 10 categories, there are 3 people per category. So I was honored, number one. This is my first time out the gate. So
I'm just going to say again, awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's no surprise. Again, the service, I mean, we've talked about it, your service to our country, as a Navy veteran. How old were you when you enlisted?
17. I was 17.
17?
17 years old. Everybody else was on the senior trip. And I was going through AFES, raising my right hand.
Going through what?
It's got AFES. That's when after you pass the test, and then they send you to get your complete physical. Then they test you even further to see what rate you'll have and where they're going to put you. And then they take you to this big room after everybody passes. And you go in this big room and they fingerprint you. Oh my God, it's scary. So they take you to this big room and you get fingerprinted. They take like your DNA sample and then they run you through like the FBI thing and they do it like a psychological profile on you to see if you're weird or.
And for you, they said, yep, check.
Yep, check.
Yep, she is.
And then they ask you, are you going to be a conscientious observer? They ask you a lot of questions. And then they say, okay, then you go in another room. And it's like you start out with this big, huge group. And by the end of the day, like maybe there's like 250 people that start out with you like at 7 o'clock in the morning. And by the time at 4 o'clock, when it's time for you to raise your hand, it was maybe 25 or 30 people that passed all the way through.
Wow.
So there are not that many people that, make it. It used to be if you got in trouble, either you go to jail or you go in the military. But after they got past that point, they really got picky. And there were, that day, there had to be close to maybe 250, maybe 300 people that started out with me at 7 o'clock in the morning. And by the time we made it all the way to the end and got in that room, and they stood up there and you had to raise your right hand and say that I I will defend my country and the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. There were maybe 30 of us left.
Right. Wow. And that's
I wish they could do that for the select. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
but they did that for the Brilliance Awards because they had not a room, but they had a list of 600 women that got down to how many categories did they award in?
There are 10 categories.
10 categories. And there you are.
10. And then there were 3 for each category. And then they had to select out of that. And it's so cool because it's like they said, dress like you're going to the Golden Globes and of course, I did. That's my specialty.
Another non-surprise, folks. I'm just sitting here not being surprised today.
And when they hand the speaker the envelope, and they open up the envelope, and Dr. Kimberly Kennedy Barrington, and I was just like, they called my name. My daughter said, "Mom, they called your name." I was like, but I kind of, had an idea. So this is my truth. When I wheeled into the Ambassador Mall room and I saw the ramp on the stage, and I was the only person that had a wheelchair that had been nominated.
I'm just happy they got the ramp, because folks, we've been there, done that.
I know. So I just said, I said, this might be just a little presumptuous. I said, but I think I might be winning in my category. I said, because they put a ramp up there. And just maybe, because here's a quick funny story that Roger Mace is an architect who put together the principles for universal design. He started the Universal Design Center at North Carolina State University School of Architecture. And he got an award because when you do cool things like that, you get an award. And he showed up at this hotel and it was inaccessible, him sitting in his wheelchair. So he went home and somebody asked him, well, are you going to complain and fight it? And he's like, look, I got my work to do because if I complain about everything that's inaccessible, I would never get anything else done. And I mean, this was probably 30 years ago plus. And so again, his work continues to have that impact like yours, Dr. Kimberly. I mean, we talked about it over the last 2 years because I'm going to say back to service, folks, no surprise that Dr. Kimberly's winning this award because 2 weeks ago, I said to Dr. Kimberly, we got to do something. And she said, I'm in. It was that hard. I'm in. And here we are still 2 years later, still talking about, unfortunately, COVID. Folks, mask up if you're not feeling well. I was at a event training last Friday morning, just got an email that said a couple people had COVID on the weekend. We don't know if they were contagious. So it's like, keep masking, keep getting your vaccines, folks. And get your free tests, because I tested myself. I said I was around all these people. I mean, yep. I've had 4. I have 4 shots in arms already, but I still tested myself. I still mask up.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you have to. And then you don't have to, but it's a great choice. And so
I like that better.
Exactly. And so, folks, still not too late. Get your masks, get free tests, another round of free tests available. And there's tons available. Go to a larger retailer, Meijer store. And that way, no shameless plug to one of our sponsors. But that there's plenty available.
CDC.gov and get them for free.
Yep.
They send them out immediately.
Yep.
And
so
you can order, you're allowed to have 2 kits that contain 4 tests. That's 8 tests that you get in all. And you can go on the website and fill it out immediately. And they send them both together.
Awesome. So back to your award, you were able to get in the hotel? The hotel was accessible?
Was. Nice. Only because how many years ago did we do this? We were actually test pilots. And,
oh my God.
And I was the test pilot for the Amway Grand Plaza.
You were.
I was.
Oh,
Yes.
goodness, folks. That was a great, fun day doing these design charrettes and taking journeys.
Oh,
What?
it was. But you know what was really interesting is I have a service call in for my chair. The chair died after the award ceremony. So as I'm coming out of the ambassador ballroom. I get ready to come around, to the elevator, and it just says, and I want to applaud Amway Grand Plaza Hotel. Many people don't know this about me, but I am one of the top contributors for Google Maps. That's another one of the things that I like to do. I do. And before the pandemic, I was selected to go to California and, be honored. But anyway, so I appreciate them because the chair died. They were running around to see if they could find a dolly so they can put the motorized chair on a dolly. They went and got a manual wheelchair, helped me switch over into a manual wheelchair, wheeled me down. Of course, we got valet parking. So we had an accessible van. Shout out to Clock Mobility, woohoo, who is my rental place until the VA buys. I'm just waiting on my assessment for the VA to purchase one from them. But I want to say thank you to them for always having a vehicle available to me when I need to be I'm on the go, rolling. And when I tell you, they scoured Amway. They did not have a dolly anywhere. So they just said, you know what? Skip it. They found two guys to literally push the wheelchair onto the elevator, get it downstairs, and three of them just lifted it up and put it inside the van. But first they wheeled me in, with the manual wheelchair, got me on the seat, and then they just lifted up the wheelchair and the motorized one and put it inside the vehicle for me. And I was like,
that's called customer service. Again, Amway Grand, they get the multiple diamonds, whatever that award is for AAA. Folks, if you come to Grand Rapids, there's a conference or there's an organization called April, the Association of Programs of Rural Independent Living. I'm not carrying any packages. And so anyways, April, a national disability group, came to GR the October before COVID. Great time, great welcome. You come on down. As Dr. Kimberly said, we're working with all of our partners, Experience Grand Rapids, making sure we have accessibility. So back to the story. So the hotel was accessible and they helped you get out.
They were, and the stage was wonderful. It had everything set up. They even had the table. Because they had the round tables and everybody's sitting around the tables. But what I did appreciate was I did not have to navigate that myself. That they had staffing that just kind of watched. And when they saw my picture go up, they had already started telling people, now we need you to get up. We need you to move in case she's the winner in this category so that she can easily come out and just wheel on up to the stage. I appreciated that. I really. Oh, there we go. 2 thumbs up for an awesome organization, Disability Advocates in the County, and the very nicely building.
Ronnie was here. He was right up front for the ribbon cutting. Thank you, Ronnie, because it's with people like Ronnie that's what makes us impactful in the community. And so how hard do you think it was, Dr. Kimberly, for the folks at the hotel to provide that little bit extra?
It was they were just standing around anyway, waiting to pour water in people's glasses.
And so, and again,
not that I'm taking anything away from water.
Oh no, and it's awesome that they showed that little bit, folks.
Proactive, and not reactive. And there's a big difference. And so, I think that as soon as I came in and looked for my table, they were just right on it. It was like, oh, wow, whatever we can do. And there is definitely a difference between someone who is placating and, doing it, with pity or sorrow, and those who are, whatever you need me to do. I mean, because there's a difference. We don't pity a woman when she comes in and she has her purse, a diaper bag, and she's trying to carry the baby. Everybody wants to help. Oh my gosh, can we help you with the baby? Where do you want to sit? What do you want to do? I mean, we like things like that. And I would say in times past, if you were a person with a disability, everybody's like, okay, don't look over there. She might ask for some help. We don't know. And you've been there when we've gone through that, where it's like, well, do we help her or do we not help her? What's the rule? What's the protocol? I believe we were at a restaurant, a going away party for a disability advocates of Kent County former employee. When we had this incident, we all come out and they see me in my wheelchair and they're all standing there saying, no, are we supposed to help? And by the time they're trying to figure it out, I've already gotten in the car. And then, well, we know the rest of the story about that. But anyway, so to go from should we help? What are the rules of engagement, to being in an environment where I'm going to anticipate whatever the need might be. Let's get things together. So I think that says a lot about us as society and the work that we have been doing. So, it was a couple of years back, I guess before the pandemic, maybe even almost a year before the pandemic even hit,
right?
Where we were doing the charrettes, and for them to take note of everything, because I did get the Amway hotel. And so for them to implement everything that we had the conversation about once they got their score sheet, if you will, and to come back later as a consumer to be able to enjoy the work that had been done before was phenomenal.
Awesome. Because then you got to enjoy your moment, which you earned. Again, you're not doing this to get these moments, but you get these moments because you continue to do fantastic work. And so you didn't have to worry about all those. They took care of it for you. That's, again, proactive service, folks. We do that for each other all the time. Does the other, in a good way, does that include people with disabilities? Do they feel invited? Do they feel welcome? Do they feel like they belong? Sounds like you felt like you belonged.
I did.
And you belong on stage. Next year, are you hosting the event next year?
I will have to talk to Jordan Carson about that, but I think that would be awesome because
I'm just saying they got a ramp and it works. I'm just saying a co-host. We don't want to push them all off. I think you would be fantastic as a I know you would be because you're my co-host. That you would be a fantastic co-host, and let's make that stuff happen.
Well, one of the things that I am very proud of is that when I went to receive the award, of course, giving honor to God, but I received the award on behalf of anyone who has ever been dissed. I said there are 1,168 words that begin with the prefix dis that has nothing to do with disability. I said people can be discounted, disrespected, they can experience discomfort, they can be disqualified. And so for everyone in this room who has ever felt dissed, I accept the award, for all of you. So it wasn't even like, oh, okay, this is just for me and I did all this stuff. No. I said to, the editor of the magazine, I said, you just created history on today. You and your team who sat and made the decision that you were going to give this award to this disabled woman. And I'm saying just the prestige that Western Michigan holds on, oh my God, you got a Brilliance Award? Oh my goodness. And for you to have given it to someone who is African American, a veteran, small business owner, who just happens to have a disability, you made a huge stance. You just told all of West Michigan, we embrace you. Now, this is diversity, equity, and true inclusion.
Exactly. I was looking at my whiteboard that made its way from my former office to my new office.
Lord, I thought that thing was going to be burned at
No,
Camelot. No.
No. It was not burned at the burn barrel party. But up at the top there, behind Dr. Kimberly's logo, it's like it says disabled, disinvited, diswelcomed, because people see that disability, and as Dr. Kimberly just was saying, the disses just kind of roll off our tongues, and we don't have the word diswelcomed because the word dis just covered. I was dissed. That just is that deep offense that because of who you are, I was, I mean, again, Dr. Kimberly, I'm not telling you anything you unfortunately don't experience way too often in good old West Michigan. So,
yeah. So, and I think that I have learned that people can truck with you in a story and find themselves in the story. And when I say no one ever thinks that, oh, wow, this is just a prefix that you add to something else and it changes it. I go from being advantaged to being disadvantaged. Wow. Now I've made you just like me.
mm-hmm.
Just because I'm in a wheelchair, or just because I can't hear you, or just because I can't see you, or maybe I don't understand you because I'm autistic, or I don't have language or a voice, but we both can feel disadvantaged.
And that just reminds me of the impetus for this 2 years ago was that article that said COVID made us all we all had the disability.
Yes.
We couldn't go to the Amway Grand.
No.
No one could. It was closed. We couldn't go to bars and restaurants, churches, synagogues, mosques. It was all inaccessible to us. We were all dissed, which again shows that social model of disability, that it's not about your abilities, it's about the ability of the building. And COVID said, you are all dissed.
You're all dissed.
You are all dissed. So wacky but it's, folks, 2 years on, COVID's still with us. Keep taking care of yourself. What's it? Vitamin D and zinc. Take that stuff. Wear a mask if you're not feeling well. Get boosted, double boosted if you're eligible. Aren't we all eligible to be double boosted? Folks, no,
okay, so
I'm only saying,
telling you. Okay, so now you're dissed because guess what? You get disqualified right now because you don't count. So I'm saying that diss everybody, has been dissed.
Folks, here's our request for help today. I got to put it out there. I did not get Dr. Kimberly's permission for this. We need a technical intern, because, folks, I'm just saying there's so many great clips that we need to put together in a cool montage. Dr. Kimberly, when she was live at Mary Free Bed getting her first booster, her first vaccine.
My first vaccine. Oh my God.
Exactly. Classics, folks. We're talking classics of TV and internet. So if you got some time to watch some videos, do some editing, we need you. We need you now, because, folks, it's been a wild ride. Again, we've had such great folks on. I mean, our time today is almost up, but we're going to keep talking because folks appreciate the information we give. June 9th here about the built environment. We're going to keep working it. Dr. Kimberly, I know you're out there working it, and there's still too much, because what the pandemic exposed related to racial inequality in our country continues to shine forth. That we still have racial inequality. I mean, and to the worst of it, unfortunately, to the folks in Buffalo this last weekend being terrorized, by somebody who has this weird theory like we're importing people to take us white people out. I mean, really? It's all about power and control, folks. And we wonder why we don't have people to fill our jobs because we're not letting folks in this country as we always have. So, anyways, because as Ronnie just pointed out, we got tons of ability out there, tons of ability. Let's open our doors and our hearts to our friends and neighbors. That's all I got, Dr. Kimberly.
And we appreciate it. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Rolling on the Road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. There's just so much that we need to cover. And I think that we're probably going to do some shows, record them, and then upload them and say, hey, look, so that you have 7 days. We get lots of emails inundated with inboxes. Well, can you talk about this? Can you talk about that? I want to say thank you to everybody who really gave so much feedback about the PTSD show that we did. And it was actually aired probably more than 15 months ago, but the information is still relevant. Thank you to those, especially Vertaji, who took the video to show to, I'm sorry, Amber says that the milkman has technical experience.
Then bring him. I don't care. I'm not going to discriminate against that milkman who started the rumors about the vaccines. He can come and help us. We need help. Come here, Mr. Milkman. Just keep the rumors about the vaccine out in your milk truck. You can come in and help us with technology.
Absolutely. But for those of you, that video aired more than 15 months ago, but the information was so relevant and still needed. It was not outdated information that it was shared to the police chief in Detroit. So I just want you to know that, Dave, that the video got shared in Detroit to the police department for them to see it and how we kind of handle things here. So we're just grateful that the information that we have and that we share, that you're able to take it back to your city and to your state. And again, just keep reaching out and we'll keep giving you, the good information. And for those of you who shared it amongst all of your groups, oh my goodness, I think that was probably the most shared video that we've had in 2 years, was that one on PTSD. So we've heard you. We will get more experts in. We'll talk about that situation again and see how things are right now for us in Grand Rapids with dealing with PTSD, because many of you are dealing with mental health issues coming out of the pandemic.
Real. Ask for help. I promised my words were done, but my last word, I saw a great little comedic piece of if you got a serious cut and you were bleeding and you're like, I need to go to the hospital and get some stitches and this cleaned and make sure, they're going to do a consult with the plastic surgeon and making sure you don't have nerve damage. Most of us don't hesitate to go to the hospital for that. But if you're feeling that you have a mental health crisis, you're like, tough it out. You don't need to go see it. It's like, folks, mental health and physical health are welded together. So ask for help. Trauma's real. And if you find a mental health therapist you like. If you find somebody and they're not working for you, go find somebody else. Just because somebody's like, let me see if I can stitch you up. Then you find a doctor that knows how to stitch people up. So anyways, mental health is a critical need, especially now. We can't, the pandemic's done, I'm fine. No, folks, please. All right, now I'm really done, Dr. Kimberly.
Y'all know he's not. So I'm just going to say we're going to end the broadcast with that, and we will see you again. I'm muting myself. We'll see you again on next Tuesday.
Tea Tuesday.